Good afternoon. My name is Ivan, and I'm the president and chief executive of Markster. Today, I'm going to talk with my co-founder on what did we fuck up in the past 2 years, effectively, because we did a lot, but finally we found something that we managed to grow our company 0 to 1 million in less than 6 months, and not to mention we are unveiling our brand new product. So stay on with us, Attila. The show is yours. So we are already live. Like it's amazing.
So Ivan, what are we talking about today? You mentioned something about fuck ups.
Yeah, no, not my life. I meant the company. No, like I thought that it's high time to talk about really what the heck are we up to, because we have been a little bit quiet. I know I'm doing the live streams. If any of you watch, thank you. But I thought that I saw so many bullshit on the internet, and we keep sending to each other, and I thought that hey, maybe it would be good to do a PSA, and maybe we could own some of our things that we fucked up, some of the things that are working and surprising, and maybe just help a couple of folks who are doing a startup or building a company, or even just working in a big company on what the fuck to do with AI right now.
Yeah.
Because, and I will start. I thought that things would be so much easier, so much simpler, and I'm sleeping less and less each and every day, just to be able to keep up with all the things that we are doing. And
It's my fault. I got you hooked on Cloud Code.
yes, I have now code subscriptions, Codex subscription. I have Super Grok. I have Gemini. Like I tried now the 3.5 Flash, and it's like my gambling. So I'm neglecting all of my hobbies now, and my hobby is work. I go with to the bed. Like I decided.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. I said that I'm not going to have a girlfriend until Series B. So it's like now I'm fully committed. It's a joke, but now I broke up. It's like you cannot. And I'm single-mindedly focused, and even like putting 20 hours on average a day into this. For me, it's very surprising how many times, and I think I posted on Twitter or X, sorry, that the favorite catchphrase. I'm using Whisperflow now, and my favorite catchphrase, according to Whisperflow, I don't give a flying fuck, because I have 20 different terminals open, and as you do, hey, you have more. I can only handle up to 12 properly. And I just, I don't give a flying fuck. You just make sure that you follow my intent and the policies and the governance. And I just, I'm a broken record. And then sometimes it works. Sometimes you write me very angry Slack messages. So really, the AI revolutions, how the tech bros have sold us is different, I would say. And now, even OpenAI offered the latest batch, 2 million for each and every YC company to build stuff. And you, as someone who's working with OpenAI every day, what are your thoughts?
I think it's an interesting evolution of where we started from. I remember the very early GPTs, where I started copy pasting stuff into the chat box and then got something back, and then it was half correct, half not. If I look at the coding side, it couldn't even produce like a simple Python script, without syntax errors. And now, it blows my mind on what it's capable of doing, which is, I think, completely insane. But at the same time, you can't just outsource everything to it, because we also saw in our setup that it can go wrong, and it can go very wrong if we do it the wrong way. So I think what I've learned is we need to be somehow still structured, and we need to somehow build in those automated validations and mechanisms and schemas and so on that helps it drive the right results. And then it also gets spanked like a bad boy when it does wrong things. And I think our job is to obviously create those guardrails in an automated way, so we don't have to be hitting enter to approve commands all day, all night, which is sometimes how it feels, right?
That's my biggest issue with this, because Now, GitHub was hacked.
Don't get me started on GitHub.
Yeah.
I'm pretty annoyed with it in the last
No,
couple of weeks.
no. Like, we have been doing this for 2 years now, and together, and for 18 months, you've been telling me and trying to pressure me that it's so nice to put everything in Git. It's so cleaner. It makes so much sense because I use Google Docs, right, and all of the different documents, and I had my little spreadsheets and everything. I'm like, okay, let's try this codex. Let's try this. Okay, and now we have what 150 repositories in two organizations, and now I can barely access them. So that's, I would say, fuck up number one. Maybe GitHub Enterprise is not the thing that it was anymore. But no, jokes aside, like I think. I never in my life would have thought that I would be doing this, what I'm doing now. So if you even asked me a year ago, what will be, as Markster CEO, what the fuck am I going to do? Oh yeah, I am imposing guardrails and make sure that you don't stash anything, push anything onto remote, clean up the dirty work trees, and I'm like,
all the keywords now.
yeah, I'm a deputy.
You sleep and then you git push origin.
Yes, and I'm a deputy CTO now, so I'm the captain now. But that
I'm so proud.
yeah. Well, it was a long journey, but like I think that there is an enormous gap, and like whether we are, it doesn't matter when we are in San Francisco or Budapest or anywhere in between. I think that this is the most things that folks don't get on the internet. That hey, I'm using this ChatGPT. Many people use it for free or pay the $20 thing, and what are we spending now? $30K a month, $40K a month on inference alone,
like that,
and like the gap of where we are and what it could be is scary because we are still a very small player. I would say we are going very fast, but we are a very small player, and I can't possibly fathom what those folks with billion-dollar funding are doing, right?
Yeah.
Because when we are helping accounting firms or marketing agencies or whatever to do sales and marketing faster, that's relatively straightforward. And I think that, I was really proud of ourselves when we got the trademarks, and when proud of ourselves when we got ScaleOS, that now we have our own methodology. And I think since then we fuck up less in that regard because like, the bots now know, and maybe that's also something to mention. That one is to I started to think as an engineer in many cases. That's why when I'm working with marketing counterparts, sometimes they don't know what the fuck am I talking about. There's a marketing agency CEO. He keeps shouting at me. What the fuck are you? I don't know.
I don't know who you're
I don't know. Hello, Tom. So it's like these kind of things that I see it on myself when I'm reflecting that I learned so fucking much. I cannot even explain it. Like I couldn't explain what I'm doing 5 years ago to my father. Now I'm not able to explain to my peers. And I wonder that, when you were in hardware like with Airteam, you had flashy customers and you built a lot of things like crowdfunding. I think I followed you early on. How does it feel as an engineer? Because for me, just playing Code Monkey or Chaos Monkey and your production systems, he took away my production keys. I begged it back, but jokes aside, like how do you feel that like where is this going? Like you have been doing this for what 2 decades now? So
Yeah.
what do you think?
I think like reflecting back, my job has also changed a lot. At Airtime, I grew the team from like being the only solo, developer into having a team of like 40 plus engineers working on the product in various teams. And now I'm being back to pretty much solo developer, except I have a huge AI team that's doing the work for me. So it's been a very interesting journey on how I also have to kind of get used to and develop both my skill set on how I interact with various AIs and how to kind of core them into the right direction of building a company, right? And at the same time, is also changing the whole workflow, like how we as people interact and how we with machines interact. And I think that's one of the the struggles sometimes we still have that there is a misunderstanding between the machine and the human, where the machine wants to be very like structured, very technical, very like to the point, but misses the whole kind of background of why are we doing it and like how to actually tie things together. And that goes back to your like 120 repo problem, right? That we have so many of the components of building a system, and now we're like plumbing it together. But that's still hard to even comprehend as a human on what are the moving parts and how are they connected together. And the machine also sometimes struggles because we're so inexact with the like prompting and how we like, you know, have markdown files and Google Docs. So I think this is like a challenge, and like also reflecting on what you said about people and where they are. Like I also talk with a bunch of my peers, and some of them, you know, they treat AI as a search engine, a glorified search engine. They just put in like whatever, like how do I find the best cloud hosting provider, or whatever.
Stack Overflow.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of like, I think we're way ahead of that curve, and I think the technology is still very early. So it's like, I think our job also with Markster is how to like bring that technology to people and explain it to them, and so that they don't have to, you know, get into Cloud Code and spend 20 hours a day hacking away at it, but actually a way to give them like this power, like make them superhuman, you could say, using AI as a tool, as a technology to really bring them forward.
Well, and that brings to my point, because yes, we are plumbing now the new components, because I think we are iteration number 7 now.
At least.
The big ones. The small ones I don't count. I can't count the small ones. But like, you know, we were a tool, then we were a platform, we were multiple kinds of systems. And like, this is one of the conversations that we had recently, that as an engineer, how do you know what's worth building? Because in San Francisco, at least, I made my mission for 3 months. I went to an event every single day in the city, and I met hundreds and hundreds of engineers. Some of them couldn't find jobs. Some of them wanted to be a big startupper. They simply couldn't find they decided to build stuff, but in project after project, and they were in 5 different projects, because yes, they're superhuman, they can build anything, but like, I think that we are kind of moving to the age of distribution, and I think many of the conflicts that we are having is like we are coming from different philosophies, because I don't care if it's hold held together, tuck tape, and some pray, right, and faith, but it works, and it doesn't have to be necessarily scalable. And even we have like big clients, and they don't know what the fuck is happening. Sorry about that, but like that's true, and because not everything has to be so compliant, Delph, but that's why it's just like even when companies like that got hacked, like GitHub, what are we talking about? Like for me, and I don't want to talk about the big companies. Really want to talk about the normal average people doing a business, starting a startup. What the heck is worth building now?
I think you're quite right. Like building has become a lot cheaper and a lot quicker. So I think anyone can, you know, bring up Cloud Code and then like suddenly prompt their way to actually building something. The problem is like, how do you get it out there? Who are your customers? What are the pains you're solving for them? Like, how do you really like have this kind of like user understanding, doing user research and talking to people? Because like I have a billion ideas. I've built like almost a billion of them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
But I also know that they, like just by publishing it online, you know, it doesn't get people to even find it, right? And I think it's actually in that sense getting worse, because like so many people can build so many things, and so many of the same things, you know, it's easy to like, oh, and I'm gonna clone Airbnb and then build it overnight. And then what? Like, how do you actually get it out to people? How do you get people on board? How do you explain to them, like, what is it about? Why is it better? Or is it just the same? And then why? Like, and I think that part is really hard. And especially as an engineer, you know, one thing is the building part. You kind of lose the interest also in some way if it's like too quick and too painless, because as engineers, we like to suffer. As I usually say, like, you know, early pre-AI like era, it was about like writing some lines of code by hand. Then of course it didn't work, and then fixing it, and the fix didn't work, and then fixing it again, and that didn't work.
In 2 hours, oh, that's a semicolon,
Yeah,
not a normal.
exactly. And now AI just like one shots it, and it gets it right, at least the build phase. So that kind of struggle is no longer there. Now the struggle is more like distribution, as you say, and building the right thing, finding the right market, getting it out there. And then if you grow it into a million user company, you might have other struggles as well. That's more technology. But I think that's actually rare. Like it's usually the first part on how do I even get any users.
Yes, and it's very funny that you say that to me, because it's like the marketer is talking about engineering.
Just with goals.
yeah. So here's my title. There you go. No, but because for me it's very interesting to see that all of these kind of things. And this is something that we fucked up as well. That oh, this is so nice, it's so fast, so easy, and we started like scope creep. Now I understand. Understand it very intimately, and I would like to issue publicly an apology to you that hey, maybe it's not always we need to do that, and when getting the basics, like it can get you 80% of the way very fast, but in order to make it sellable, it requires the 100%. And we don't necessarily know what the 100% is. And it's like, I caught myself in the loops that, oh, I have this problem. I have my advisor bot defines. Then I have the brief writer. Okay, and so the Grok writes a brief. In Grok, I put it in Perplexity Max. I have all of the different kind of sources. I generate 10 different briefs, and then I put it in a Grok, Gemini, so that we have the conclude, and then we have and I'm doing these loops, and I'm like, I have so much market data that I absolutely have no practical use for. Like yes, the marketing agency market is now 164 billion. Who gives a fuck? I think, and this is what you said the other day, that this kind of AI delusion, or like the kind of fugue state, is what really is the issue now, and getting the fundamentals right, like cash equals offer plus traffic, boom.
Exactly.
That's it. We can sell these glasses. If you are listening, I'm holding a glass. We can go to the street, and then we can pitch people, hey, do you want to buy for this $1? And you may or may not sell it. And that's technically cash, and that's technically an offer sold in business. Like many businesses have activities and services, but they don't have offers. And they don't have a way of thinking of how it is going to be valuable. And I think, and we kind of rubbed off on each other in 2 years that, hey, now we intimately understand that now, even when we have that kind of inkling of an idea to do something, who the fuck will buy it? We don't have any domain. And now we are buying what, 6 domains a day. Like we don't have anything there. We don't have the distribution there. Let's not do that. And we are building now in clusters for customers. I think this is something that more folks need to understand, because when we are looking at here the US, it doesn't necessarily make sense that many of the businesses now being handed over in generation, and there is no one to hand it over to. So there are a lot of businesses that are like lifestyle businesses in the more traditional sense that, hey, you can make a decent living, but it's not going to be like the Lamborghinis and all of that sort. So you can have that, because to do like a lovable type of thing that, you're a bunch of 17-year-olds building something that you are technically able to build in 45 minutes, that's not going to work unless you have these kind of fundamentals, right? You can garner people and rally people. And for the boring parts, like if you're selling accounting, like lawyering and all of this sorts, then there is a system, and you just need to have the meetings and you need to grind it out. So I wonder that, what is it that you felt that was a fuck up that is worth sharing? Because for me, that was it, that, hey, we built a lot of things that we didn't even think who would buy it, and then we tried to kind of put it, and then we got one response that was like very out of blue, like, I don't even work now, I'm retired, and I shut off the whole campaign. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this shit, you know. So that's also, I saw like, I'm like a Gen Z, like, adrenaline hunter. But like, what is the one fuck up that you could share from engineering side that is like very more tangible that maybe you should not have done that?
I think a concrete fuck up is like, and this is also like augmented by AI in some way, that it's very easy to over engineer things. It's like very quick to turn a very simple project that, pre AI, I would just like, make it very concrete, very small, very like something I can read from like in 15 minutes of just looking at the code, to becoming this like huge, project with a lot of databases and components, and like you're like really like the AI is designing for scale for like Amazon type, company, when you don't even have a single user to use it. And I think I fell into that as well with some of our projects where, like I'm already thinking about this big scale instead of like really like scoping it very narrow and very sharp. I think that's one of the things. The other one is, of course, like AI makes you feel like you're superhuman and all your ideas are amazing and you're never wrong.
You're never wrong, never.
I also like made my AI like be a lot more like, yeah. Exactly.
More stern.
More stern, and like throw back the stuff, the ideas that I'm throwing at it, because I really need that kind of counterpart, of saying like, no, this is a dumb idea, like don't do it.
No, but we have like one of the investors, Axel. He has his neuromarketer. I made him into a skill, and like you can see the pattern with him because based on the transcripts now. Every single time I ask him something, the skill, I mean not the person, he says, Ivan, stop. You are now at step 3. Now let's go to step. And like literally, he's a German guy. I love him. And like, he's doing that. So we build this kind of guardrails to also keep us. Now it's not just the machines, but keep us humans in line and check. I think that's also like more important than ever. That know what the fuck you're doing. Right, that because it's easy. You open up. But it was also like in our defense, just to be on the both sides of the court. Even before AI, guys opened up a Shopify trial, and then they have a T-shirt that no one bought, and the Instagram handle entrepreneur. So I think if somebody wants to delude themselves, they are able to do so without.
But it's much easier now, right?
You can kind of cheerleader. Yeah, you're amazing. Yes. Why? And like the practical usage is that, what I was really pissed off. Why are we not talking about now OpenClaw at all? Like,
just disappear, right?
Cayman man. Okay. The guy, he's a very loving guy, but like, I'm pretty sure that something was engineered about the type. Like, that's my favorite Conteo. I was very surprised that, hey, here in the podcast studio, like we were talking to the guys, and then I don't know how we got there, but like, I didn't talk to you yet. But we had the emails. I'm like, no, it was actually my AI writing all of those emails. And he mentioned that I wished him a great day. And then how nice this guy is. And I'm like, no, it was trained on my email, so it knows that I'm polite, especially in first contacts. But like otherwise, no. And like I feel that all of these kind of courses and communities and all of this kind of bullshit, like, can you not buy anything for a month and just observe what are you doing? What is something that you do more than once in a month that could be very easily automated? So, and you don't even need to have like Make and NA10 because that's what the gurus like to sell because they can sell templates and that's how the money is made. So, folks, don't be scammed. But like, what is something that you started to automate for ourselves that you really like?
I mean, I think I like automate most of the things that I do and like try to focus on only the, human aspects of the core, like how to design this in a scalable architecture way. But like, for example, infrastructure is like fully automated for me. So anything from like buying domains to setting it up to having it on the server to making websites to like everything is pretty much just like one prompt and it's done fully end to end, which is, I think it has like made my time so much more productive. I think if I have to put a number, it's like at least 20x on what I'm capable of doing today in the same amount of time compared to before. And all it took was tying up the systems to the right AI and making sure that I have my own guardrails. So like it cannot just like, oops, delete production because it wanted to free up some free space for this brand new website or something like that.
I don't know who you're talking about, but my favorite invention of yours is definitely the review bot. That now it checks me, that doesn't let me merge anything until it checks all the diffs and the CI, and then, oh, hey, actually, you have a core conflict, and oopsie
And I think actually that's one of the things we're doing well. Like we're like scoping out various roles to the AI, and then like specifying really like how they should operate with us and also together in order to actually execute properly with our business processes. For example, like now I have my own developer team AI, and then whenever it actually generates stuff, my review AI actually reviews it. And I'm getting more and more confident that the review AI is actually doing a pretty good job. I still sometimes look at it, of course, like validate that everything is in place. But most of the time, I would say like 90% of the times I can just like give it the green check and I'm happy with it, which I think is already a big progress, especially in the age of AI being able to generate tens of thousands of lines of code per hour.
Don't quote Gary 10 to me, but yes, something like that, and you know, like especially like that my contributions also that I think that that's because I'm now able to meaningfully translate my vision, and you know, back in the day I was at free code camp, I was going to boot camp, I learned how to code with HTML, CSS, Python, all of these things. I never worked as a developer, right? So it was not really something that I could use. And now that at least I understand the concepts, and now you're giving me those kind of things, I think the original setup of like hustler and hacker, I think that's why it's super impactful. That now we have that kind of habits that I know where you are sometimes going over shoot and script,
Yeah.
and you know me when I'm in a different galaxy than this planet, and
But just to jump in on
yeah.
that, I think it actually helped a lot on our collaboration as well, because now you can go and prototype things and experiment with it, and you start to also understand my struggles sometimes, right, along with it. But it also gives you a way to communicate your ideas and your thoughts to me more than just writing it down in a Google Doc or something, because you can actually ship a product yourself. And then I can make it proper, right? And it's the same thing the other way, that I can communicate back to you in a more technical way, because you also like learned about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to also kind of enhance the collaboration between, as you say, the hacker or the growth hacker and the engineer or developer or startup or whatever. That's something I could suggest for people, also for non-technical founders, to start playing with it and experiment, and you don't have to push production code from day one.
But like hashtag YOLO, like dangerously escape permission,
Exactly.
you can. But yes, but if it's local and you do it for yourself,
Then it
doesn't matter.
probably won't harm that much.
Maybe it might be. Yeah, like maybe.
My cybersecurity background still creeps out.
Yeah, like it's okay. Like I don't know. We never leaked any kind of public keys.
No, we have pretty good. I think
Yeah. You
guardrails.
called me multiple times before I went to do that, so that's good. And I don't want to create like a multi-hour episode. I'm not Joe Rogan, but I want just I really want to tie up with one thing. Is that I think it's time that we reveal a big thing that we have been working on, and I've been tripping it on Surge in the live streams, and I generously let you work instead of doing those with me, but now I had to force you now, because the people wanted to see you, that you're not an avatar, you exist. But like
maybe I am.
who knows? Who knows? But no, like I think that it's time that we at least took just a couple of sentences about engine, because like I think it's time that we talk about it, because that's the big thing that we are building towards, and we have multiple surfaces for it. But I really would like you to showcase that, how it's now being built, because we have been spending 2 years on development and another year on ideation on it, and maybe it's now you can do it better because Markster will tell you everything. So what is Markster Engine today?
So the engine is, maybe I can start with why are we even doing that? So the idea is that we want to bring the technology that we have today to run businesses for people that are not like, coding 24/7 in Cloud Code and
have lives.
So exactly. So the idea of the engine is to have Markster operate your business end to end. And that includes all the business processes that you might have in a company that requires marketing and sales. So anything from generating leads to running cold mail campaigns to doing social media and content and so on. And the engine itself is designed in a way to learn about you as a company and people within the company, build up this kind of company context in order to be able to act for you, right? In some human in the loop way, obviously. So, but sometimes not if you don't want that, and to be able to actually help you through the whole flow of running your business by generating content, artifacts, actions, tasks. So basically the whole flow, and it helps basically by making sure that you don't have to think about how that engine is running, and you can just kind of outsource it to the technology, and you can focus on what you're really good at, and that might be accounting if you're an accounting agency, or like the developer. If you're a developer, you don't have to learn about the intricacies of actually running something like this.
And one might ask that, hey, I have Grok, I have ChatGPT, I can connect it to my Gmail, I can connect it to Google Drive. How is this different? What would you say?
It's true, and you can, and you should probably, because I think it's a great way to play around. But it's not something you can implement, or technically you can, because we actually open sourced our playbook on doing that. But as you also know, it's a lot harder than it seems. It seems very simple to just prompt your way into it, and you can get by to some extent. But if you really want to roll it out to your whole company, make sure that it's running all the time. Make sure that it doesn't crash at 2 a.m. and that you don't have to spend 6 hours cleaning it up afterwards.
Never done that. Never.
Then that's why we're here, to actually make it proper.
Yes, and that's kind of the point that even as simple as creating social media content, that was one of the first use cases even 3 years ago. We spent last week a full week on reholding that system to making sure that it's right every single time, every single way, and it generates, and it's really you.
Exactly. I think that's the main point, that it needs to be you, and it shouldn't be ChatGPT's general AI slop, right? That's now like spreading everywhere on the internet.
Yes, and that's why, you can see that you can get viral almost immediately. You can get leads almost immediately because everybody is using this kind of generic and lazy solutions, like really. And that's why being different, being standing out in a good way is one thing. And secondly, that you don't have to hire big consultants, hire courses, and etc. We have ScaleOS, which is our trademark methodology. I have worked my ass off to codify how you can actually grow a business through, because I have, burden. You know very well, but some of them don't know that, I burned my 7-year-old relationship, and we broke up on our anniversary because I was in the business, and it consumed me because I was not able to step away for a day. And even when I tried, I just kept thinking of it, and I was physically there, mentally not there. And I think that's the super important thing that, many people are struggling with work-life balance, or actually the kind of pressure of, AI is taking away and it's going to be, we are going to get the fuck out of here. That's first of all. Second of all, it can just make your life easier if you are actually using it to a template. So we worked with many different kind of companies, and now I can think many different ways, like from services to products to small and big, from Europe to North America and then beyond. So I just wanted to thank you, Attila, to being and helping those thousands of people who use Markster today, because that's your magic hands. You're Jesus now, and you know that we are now revealing engine. So and obviously details will follow. But I'm very proud of it, and I hope that these kind of fuck ups, that hey guys, we also fuck up, like
Everyone does.
that's the part of the learning
You have
journey.
to learn from it, yeah.
Yes, so it's now not like 5 years in university, like you still do university, but it's not 5 years, and then like it's much easier and faster. You can get to a very good level if you're just trying things. So thank you for pulling away from all of your terminals.
Thank you.
And,
My agents are already like...
crisis. And if any of your listeners and watchers, you want Attila more, you need to tell us in the comments, so I can invite him onto the stream with me. So you don't have to see me all the time. So thank you very much.
Thanks,
and
Ivan.
you have a great day.
Same to you.
Bye, guys.